They said the inheritance was split fairly. I got $500. My sister got the house, the car, the 10-year account I funded with my parents. She deserves stability, Dad texted. I replied, so do I. I filed a claim, froze probate access, and notified the executor. 2 days later, Mom called. Everything's locked. I didn't answer, just watched as movers took back every key, every title, every dollar. I got $500, I said flatly, holding the check like it might disintegrate in my hands. Be grateful, my dad had texted earlier. She deserves stability. Stability. And I got the house. The fully paid off car. The 10-year savings account I funded with them. I got a number smaller than our monthly Wi-Fi bill. Fairly, they said. Fair, like making your oldest child work 2 jobs in college while your golden girl found herself in Bali. Fair, like watching her get bailed out of credit card debt 3 times while I got told to stop being so negative. So when the estate lawyer slid that check across the table, I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I filed a claim, froze the probate, emailed the executor with a timestamped list of every deposit I made into that joint account. 2 days later, my phone lit up with Mom. Everything's locked. What did you do? I didn't respond. I just sat on the porch, watching the movers take back the house key, the car title, the account folders, every last dollar. It wasn't always like this. Or maybe it was, and I was just too loyal to see it. Growing up, I was the responsible one, the fixer, the one who just gets it done. Anna? She was the fragile dreamer, always one missed payment away from a crisis, always rescued at the last second by Mom or Dad with a teary hug, and she just needs a little help. When I was 17, I picked up weekend shifts at a mechanic's shop. Dad said it would build character. Anna quit her job at a boutique because her boss was mean. I remember coming home one day, grease still under my nails, to find her crying in the kitchen. Apparently, she'd overdrawn her checking account again. Mom was hugging her like she'd just survived a war. Can you help your sister cover rent this month? Dad asked. I was still in high school, but I helped. I always helped. It started small. A few hundred here, a late fee there. Then came the joint savings account. We're building this together, Dad said. For the future, for both of you. I deposited into that account every month. Sometimes a little, sometimes half my paycheck. I did it for 10 years. Even when I moved out. Even when I was skipping meals to pay off my student loans. When I asked Anna if she was contributing too, she just laughed. I'm between jobs, she'd say, sipping wine on Mom's couch. Besides, Mom and Dad said not to worry. They've got me. I should have seen it then. But I didn't, not really, until Dad got sick. Pancreatic cancer. The fast kind. The cruel kind. We all rallied. I took unpaid leave. Spent nights at the hospital. Managed the bills when Mom couldn't face them. Anna showed up in designer sunglasses, stayed an hour, cried in the hallway, and left. When he passed, I was the one holding Mom's hand. I was the one who arranged the funeral, sorted the documents, cleaned out his closet. Anna picked out the flowers and posted a black and white picture on Instagram with the caption, "He was my rock." Forever broken. She didn't cry at the funeral. She cried when the lawyer read the will. Because she wasn't surprised, she was pleased. The house goes to Anna, the lawyer said. Per the codicil signed 3 months before death. I blinked. What? In the car, he continued. In the joint savings account. My ears started ringing. Excuse me. I said, louder now. I'd been depositing into that account for a decade. Your name was removed 6 weeks ago, the lawyer said, sliding a printout across the table. Removed. 6 weeks ago. When Dad was too weak to stand up without help, someone had taken my name off that account. Probably a clerical thing, Mom said quickly, not meeting my eyes. My hands were shaking. I looked at Anna. She didn't look guilty. She looked smug. Like this was her coronation. You're doing fine, Mom offered. She needs stability. She needs stability? I snapped. What do you think I've been doing for the past 10 years? Building castles in the sky. But that was the moment. The moment I realized I was never their child. Not really. I was their foundation. Their ATM. Their crisis hotline. And now that Dad was gone, they didn't even need to pretend anymore. Anna got everything. And I got a $500 check. I went home that night, didn't sleep. Just sat there, staring at the ceiling while memories flooded me. The time I gave up a job interview to drive Anna to urgent care because she'd twisted her ankle, she was hungover. The time I lent her money to cover a security deposit, only to find out later she never moved. She used the cash to fly to Tulum. The night before Dad's surgery, she texted me, "Do you think I should go blonde?" And here I was, alone, furious, but more than that, done. Because it wasn't about money anymore. It was about respect, or the lack of it. So I pulled out the folders. Every deposit receipt. Every text from Dad saying, "We appreciate your help." Screenshots of account balances. Copies of old statements with my name printed clearly at the top. I scanned everything. Compiled a dossier so complete it would make an auditor weep. Then I emailed the executor. Attached everything. And wrote one sentence. "I dispute the disbursement and am filing a formal claim." An hour later, probate access was frozen. I expected silence. Maybe a formal email. What I didn't expect was the phone call at 7:14 a.m., 2 days later. "MOM, everything's locked." "What did you do?" Her voice wasn't sad. It was pissed. Like I'd stolen her money. I took a deep breath. "I filed a claim. I'm disputing the will." "You can't just do that." "I can't," I said calmly. And I did. She went quiet. Then, "Anna needs access. Her mortgage payment. It's my account too. Or at least, it was." "You're being dramatic. This isn't what your father would have wanted." I laughed. It came out sharp, bitter. "Oh, you mean before or after he signed over everything to Anna and deleted my name while he was too sick to even drive himself to the lawyer's office?" "Don't do this," she said. "You're going to tear this family apart." I didn't reply, because that family didn't exist. It never did. After I hung up, my phone exploded. Texts from cousins, aunts, even family friends I hadn't heard from in years. "Why are you doing this to Anna? Your dad left her everything for a reason." Family doesn't take family to court. But none of them were there at 3 a.m. when I was driving Dad to the hospital. None of them wrote the checks, paid the bills, sat by the bed while Anna was getting manicures. None of them sacrificed anything. But they were ready to shame me for asking why the person who gave everything was left with nothing. Then came the knock. I opened the door and stared. Anna. She didn't look like someone in mourning. She looked pissed. Designer coat. Fresh nails. No tears. "You filed a probate freeze?" I didn't invite her in. "Yeah," I said. "I did." "You're screwing everything up." "I'm contesting the will," I said. "On legal grounds." She scoffed. "Legal grounds? For what?" "Jealousy. You altered the documents on the account change form." Her face froze. "I have the originals," I continued. "The bank verified the documents. I matched Dad's actual signature with the one on file. Yours doesn't match. Not even close." She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. "That doesn't prove anything." "Sure it does. It proves you took something that wasn't yours." Her composure cracked for just a second. "You're not getting the house," she hissed. "Or the car. Or anything. I don't want the house." That made her blink. "I want accountability," I said, stepping forward. "And restitution. For the 10 years I put into that account. For every time I bailed you out. For every month I went without so you could live like a princess." Her mouth twisted. "Dad loved me more. That's why." I actually laughed. "You think this is about love? You really think that matters now?" She looked away. Jaw clenched. "You're pathetic," she said. "You've always been jealous of me. Because I'm better. Prettier. Worth something." That was it. That was the moment. Because I saw it. The real her. No grief. No remorse. Just entitlement. The kind that thought lying, forging documents, and draining someone else's life savings was just what she deserved. I didn't flinch. "You know what?" I said. "You can keep your delusions. But the court won't care. They'll see the forged signature. The bank records. The text from Dad thanking me for supporting the family account. The fact that you never contributed a cent." She stepped back. I closed the door. She banged on it once. Then again. Then silence. The next day, I got the official call from the executor's office. "Due to newly submitted evidence, the estate is frozen pending investigation. All asset transfers are suspended." That same afternoon, I hired a forensic accountant. He went through every single year of that account's activity. And guess what? Not only had I contributed 92% of the total deposits over the last decade, but Anna had withdrawn from it repeatedly while claiming she didn't even know how to access it. When I presented that to the estate attorney, they filed for a full review. Mom called again. "Are you really doing this? To your sister?" "No, Mom," I said. "I'm doing it for myself." She started crying. I didn't hang up. I just let her cry. Because for once, I wasn't the one apologizing. I wasn't the one sacrificing. I wasn't the one staying silent so everyone else could stay comfortable. A week later, movers showed up at the house. Court order. All property was to be held in escrow pending the ruling. Anna stood on the porch screaming at the team, waving her hands, trying to stop them. But it was done. They took back every key, every title, every dollar. And I watched. 3 days after I froze the estate, the call started. First Mom, then Anna, then a wave of flying monkeys from every corner of the family tree. You made your point. This is so unlike you. You're grieving. You're not thinking straight. No one asked what they had done. No one wondered why the stable sun had finally snapped. I wasn't grieving the loss of my father anymore. That ended the moment I found out he'd left me $500. I was grieving the truth, that I'd spent my entire adult life being the family's invisible spine. And the moment I stood up straight, they all screamed that I'd grown too tall. The court date was set for 9 a.m. 2 weeks later. I showed up at 7:40 with a messenger bag full of receipts, sworn letters, bank logs, even text messages between Dad and me, where he thanked me for funding the family account. Anna walked in at 8:55. She was dressed like she was attending a high-end real estate pitch. Expensive coat, sunglasses indoors, a smile so thin it might have cut glass. When she passed my table, she didn't make eye contact, just said, low under her breath, "I always knew you were a snake." I didn't flinch. Snakes shed skin. I was done wearing mine. The hearing was swift, brutal. My lawyer walked the judge through the financial records, line by line. Every monthly deposit I made into the so-called Joint Family Future Fund. Every zero from Anna. Every flagged transaction. Spa visits. Boutique clothing hauls. Plane tickets. Thousands spent on something called the Goddess Mindset Retreat in Sedona, where Anna apparently reclaimed her ancestral feminine energy. Paid for with my labor. The judge stared down at the spreadsheet for a long moment, then turned to Anna's lawyer. "Do you dispute any of this?" He cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses. "My client believes her father intended for her to have these assets." "Believes," the judge echoed. Then he turned to me. "Do you have any evidence of a different intent?" I nodded, pulled out a worn envelope. Dad's handwriting, dated 3 weeks before he passed. Inside, a letter. Real, honest, raw. "If you're reading this, something went wrong. I didn't change anything. I didn't take your name off the account. I never rewrote the will. That wasn't me. I trusted your mother to handle things. Maybe I shouldn't have." I handed it over. The courtroom was silent as the judge read it. The only sound was Anna's breath growing louder and shakier. And then he spoke. "I am suspending the revised will. Based on the financial evidence in this letter, the court finds credible indication of undue influence and potential fraud." Anna gasped. "Fraud? That's not. This is my inheritance." The judge didn't even blink. "It's not your inheritance if it was stolen." But that wasn't the end. Because right as the session was about to adjourn, my lawyer handed over one last file. A forensic analysis. The signature on the revised will? Copied. Digitally lifted from a 2014 medical form Dad signed at a clinic. Placed into the will using basic editing software. A direct match. Pixel by pixel. The judge slammed his gavel once. Estate is reverted to its original structure. Equal division of assets. Restitution of $46,700 owed to the plaintiff. And this matter is referred for investigation. Outside the courthouse, Anna was waiting for me. Arms crossed. Rage boiling behind her mascara. "You think this is justice? You think you're the hero?" "No," I said calmly. "I think I finally stopped playing your idiot." She stepped closer. "You were always jealous. That's why you're doing this. You couldn't stand that Dad loved me more." I looked at her and saw it all so clearly. Not guilt, not shame, just entitlement, as natural to her as breathing. "He didn't love you more," I said. "He just couldn't say no to you." The story broke online the next day. Someone leaked the case summary. Headline: Son freezes estate after $500 inheritance uncovers years of fraud. It blew up. Not because of me. Because the public knows that story. The quiet sibling. The dependable one. The one who never asks for anything until it's all gone. I started getting messages from strangers. One man wrote, "Your story gave me the strength to finally say no to my sister." Another woman, "I funded my mom's mortgage for 12 years. Never even got a thank you. You're not alone." And that's when I realized this wasn't just personal anymore. This was universal. Then came the plot twist I didn't see coming. A private email. From someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Jason, Dad's old friend. A guy I remembered from barbecues when I was a kid. He wrote, I knew your dad better than almost anyone, and I think there's something you should know. He attached a scanned letter, dated 6 months before Dad passed. Signed, witnessed, stamped. It was a draft of a trust, never filed. One that split the estate equally, but included a clause. If either child is found to have acted in bad faith, manipulated funds, assets, or relationships, her share shall be reassigned. Jason had found it while helping clean out Dad's old storage unit. A file box labeled, just in case. Turns out, Dad wasn't blind. He just didn't know how to stop the train once it left the station. Anna's lawyer tried to keep her out of jail. Didn't work. Probate fraud is serious. Mom was next. Her voice on the leaked voicemail sealed it. He doesn't need to know the details. Just smile and say it's what Dad wanted. They were charged as co-conspirators. No trial yet. But their reputations? Torched. Family dinners canceled. Friendships dried up. The golden child's shine, gone. I took my share of the estate and donated a portion to a scholarship in Dad's name. For kids who work 2 jobs and still get ignored. The rest? I bought a home. Modest. Quiet. Mine. And I framed that letter. The one where Dad said he never meant to hurt me. Because in the end, that's the only inheritance that mattered. They say closure comes softly. That it's a warm conversation, a deep breath, a handheld. They lied. My closure came with subpoenas, restitution orders, and a judge declaring that I was the rightful half-owner of everything they tried to bury me under. My closure came loud. And it left a silence so perfect, so clean, it felt like stepping out of a burning building and realizing you can still breathe. After the ruling, Anna vanished. Not legally. She was still bound by the court's decision. But she left town, shut down her social media, ghosted the same friends she used to flaunt her curated life in front of. The restitution? It came in pieces. Slowly, through a court-enforced payment plan. Every time a deposit hit my account, I smiled. Because it wasn't just money. It was a receipt. A ledger of justice. The house was sold 6 weeks later. Half the proceeds came to me. I used it to buy a small home. Modest, quiet, but finally mine. And not just the title. The air inside. The freedom. The silence without tension. I didn't fill it with things. I filled it with absence. Of need, of guilt, of manipulation. And I realized something no one ever taught me. Peace isn't the prize. It's the proof that you finally stopped bleeding for people who were holding the knife. One morning, I got a letter, handwritten, from someone I hadn't seen in years. Uncle Nate, my dad's older brother. A man I barely remembered except as the one who always kept his distance. Inside was just a single page. I saw the documents. I saw what you did. Your father and I weren't always close, but I know this. He was afraid. Afraid of saying no. Afraid of tipping the balance. I think you inherited his integrity, but not his fear. That's why you won. I didn't expect tears, but they came anyway. Because even at the end, someone still saw me. Mom didn't show up again. Not to the house sale. Not to the final probate signing. She sent a letter through her lawyer. It said, let's move on. There's no reason to dwell on things. I read it once, then burned it. There was no apology, no acknowledgement. And you know what? That was fine. Because I no longer needed their confession to validate my experience. I knew what they did. And now, so did the courts, the state, the story itself. Weeks passed. I built new habits. Grocery lists that didn't include someone else's preferences. Weekends with no calls about crises. Paychecks that stayed in my account. I started volunteering at a community center, helping people write financial appeals, challenge evictions, contest debts. People just like me, who were told to stay quiet, stay generous, stay responsible until it killed them. And I watched them slowly raise their heads. Start to say no. I saw myself in every single one of them. Then, one night, something unexpected happened. A knock on the door. It was Alex, Anna's ex. He looked exhausted. Older. But there was a calm to him I hadn't seen before. He handed me a manila envelope. I thought you should have this. Inside, drawings. Childlike, messy, colorful. Crayons. Stick figures. A card, written in big, uneven letters. Thank you for helping my dad. He is not sad now. It was from Emma, their daughter. Anna's daughter. She had no idea what had happened. No idea her mother tried to erase me. And yet, here was her thank you. For returning her father to her. for helping break the cycle. I visited Dad's grave one last time. No flowers, no dramatic speech, just the letter he wrote me, laminated and worn from rereading, and a picture. One of the few of just him and me. We were fishing, laughing. He was young, I was small, and we looked free. I left it on the headstone. Let the wind take what it wanted. Rest now, I said. I've handled it. So how did it end? Not with a bang. Not with a grand reunion. But with me, sitting in my house, drinking coffee without checking my phone, my email, my guilt. Free. Because I broke the chain. The myth of obligation. The weaponized guilt. The lie that family means surrender. Let them call me cold. Let them call me selfish. Let them call me ungrateful. I know the truth. I was loyal. I was generous. I was forgiving. Until I wasn't. Until I realized that survival was louder than loyalty. That self-respect was worth more than inheritance. That I deserved stability too. So when people ask what happened with my family, I say, they split the inheritance fairly. My sister got the house, the car, the account. I got $500. And then I took back everything they stole. With proof, with power, with no apology. I didn't just win the case. I ended the story. And I never looked back.